Most of humanity is lost in doing. We're disconnected and separated from our being, the dimension of being. This doing, being lost in thought, always trying to do something, to go somewhere. This is the doing that I'm talking about. And you can see this in our society, trying to achieve a higher status, always trying to get somewhere in the future. Right? So it's this constant movement, this constant doing. And that's the outer activity that we can see. You can see that just in yourself. You can see that in society. And I'm not saying that the doing is a problem. It's when we've lost that connection to our being. We don't know what we really are. We're disconnected from our being. We're disconnected from our true self. The true self is our being, that dimension of being that's always present. It's the dimension of being that the doing arises out of and is experienced in. All the activity arises out of stillness and is experienced in stillness, the stillness of your being, the peace of your being. But if we get so lost in the doing and we're so disconnected from that deeper dimension of being, we don't even know it exists. And that's the state that we're in, is that we don't know that there's something beyond. We don't know that there's something beyond the mind. We're unaware. We're unconscious of our being. We're unaware of our being. So it's a little bit of a conundrum that we need to connect. Again, language kind of fails because it's not really a connection, like you're connecting. That just being conscious of our inner being. Right? Just like there's a lot of outer activity, but at our very core is the stillness of our being. At our very core is the peace of our presence. So, again, it's this conundrum. So how do we connect? How do we become conscious of that being? And that's where being present, because when we're present, we've all experienced the times where we're present, and it just this feeling of openness, wonder, awe, beauty, enjoyment, peace, harmony, flow, happiness. And what we're tasting when we're being present, that dimension of being, we're getting a taste of our true nature. Those things that I've listed, happiness, love, peace, freedom, awe, wonderment, beauty. This is the aroma of our being. It's not the activity, the way that our mind processes it. We think that it's the activity that's creating those feelings, creating that quality. But those qualities are actually arising out of us. It's arising out of our true nature. It's arising out of our being. It's like that's just the aroma, right? When we're being present, we're in that dimension of being. We're conscious. We're conscious of the being. So then we become conscious of those qualities, those feelings. But our mind thinks that, oh, it's the drinking tea. It's the drinking tea that really makes me happy. That's what gives me the enjoyment, is the tea drinking. No, it has nothing to do with the tea drinking. It's about being present. If I'm present, whatever I'm doing, there's going to be that enjoyment, that wonder. Drinking tea, washing dishes, whatever it is. Because we're getting in touch with our being, right? That's why we're being present. A lot of people want to know, how do I be happy? Well, to be happy, again, being. Not doing happy. How do I do happy? Nobody says that. How do I be happy? It's on that level of being. Because happiness is really our being. But from the separate self perspective that's lost, how can it know anything? How can it experience that happiness if it's lost, if it never finds the being dimension? So being present is really like that bridge, you can say. It's not really a bridge, but it's that access point, being present. Because there's not really any difference between the present moment and your being. The present moment arises out of your being and is experienced within your being. So if you want to think of it, it's like your access point or your portal or your bridge, then great. But that's kind of how we start finding that deeper dimension, is by being present. Because as long as we're caught in our thoughts, or I should say lost in our thoughts, mainly lost in the future, or we're stuck in the past, stuck in our memory, well, out here, we're lost. We're disconnected from the present moment. And the present moment is where everything is. It's where the love is, the happiness, the peace, the harmony, the awe, the wonderment, all of that. It's all right there. And you get tastes of it when you come back, and just for a split second, maybe it's just that, you fully relax, you open up, and you catch a sunrise on your vacation, and it's that sunrise. Oh my goodness. But then we attribute it, it's the vacation that created the happy moment, was the vacation. No, it's not. It's not. This is a nice experience, the vacation, but it's actually being present. You can get the same enjoyment out of being present and drinking a cup of tea. You can get the same relaxation, the same awe, wonderment. Being present, just getting your hands dirty in your garden. It doesn't need to be something so spectacular. But again, the nature of the mind, it's always chasing these new experiences, going outward, trying to find happiness outward, where it's the wrong direction. If we're just present, it's the only direction that happiness is inward. And being present is really that first step inward to that deeper dimension that I'm talking about. Whatever you want to call it. Presence, awareness, being, your true nature, essence, source, God, heaven. It's all pointing at the same thing. That's actually, that dimension is, it's nameless. It's nameless, it's formless. And even that word dimension kind of throws people off because of how much sci-fi movies kind of use it. And then you're kind of thinking, dimension. That word, it's got to be out there in outer space, something. What are they talking about? The future? Dimension. Sounds like some Star Wars, Star Trek type of talk. It's not like that either. It's just something. It's just something that's a no thing, and this is just hard to talk about. That we're just unaware of right now. We're unaware of it, yet at the basis of it, the irony is, it's it's the basis of everything. If I asked you, are you aware of your experience right now? Yeah, of course. It's that awareness. It's that awareness. The fact that you're aware of your experience right now, that awareness is fundamental. Without that awareness, could you have this experience? Would there be this experience? No. Where is this experience taking place? In awareness. Where do all experiences arise out of? Awareness. To be experienced in awareness. And then they dissolve back into awareness, where there's a new experience, and that's that present moment. It's a constant flow of ever fresh, ever changing experiences. And we would not be able to experience that present moment unless you are aware. And it's that awareness that's just simply being. It's not doing. It's already here. It's formless. It's invisible. It's present. It's effortless. You don't have to do anything to be aware. Again, are you aware? Yes. See, that awareness is always there. It was there just a minute ago when I asked you, and it's there again now. How about now? Are you aware? Yes. If I asked you, how much effort does it take to be aware? No effort at all. It's just there. It's there already. It just is. It's like it's there in the background. And the doing is happening in the foreground. The thinking, then there's the doing with the body. It's even more of a foreground to see. But it's in the back row. It's in the back row. And it's so silent and so still and so invisible that it's undetected by the mind, because it's beyond the mind. And unless we become aware of being aware, then that awareness is just, we're lost as in the activity. But once I'm aware of being aware, then that becomes conscious of itself. which is exactly what I'm saying. It's becoming conscious of the deeper dimension. That's the deeper dimension. It's what's beyond the mind. The mind is here, right? Are you aware of your thoughts? Yes. Are you aware of your body? Yes. Well, then you can see it's beyond that. It's beyond both. Because for you to be aware of what's happening here, there must be something, right? It's not really a something, it's the no thing. So let's just call it the formless field of awareness that's witnessing that. It's witnessing the mind, it's witnessing the emotions, it's witnessing the body. Right? The physical, emotional, mental planes. Without awareness, how would you know about those? So when we touch, you could say, for lack of better words, touch that deeper dimension, when this awareness becomes aware of itself, then that's kind of like I don't know how to put this. It's almost like a smoke signal kind of thing, right? With the metaphor of lost in the doing of the mind, the doing of the body, right? The activity of the mind and the activity of the body. That's what we're getting lost in. By just being aware. Oh yeah, just kind of come back. I am aware. You get lost again. Come back. Am I aware? I am aware. I'm aware of this thought. I'm aware that I was thinking in the future. I'm aware that I was stuck in the past and sad for the last 2 hours. There's something beyond it, beyond that activity, that is aware of it. So that smoke signal kind of, it's like it helps us find our way back to it. And the more we value this, the less we're lost. And the more we experience that happiness, that love, that peace, that freedom. Because this is the activity. It's like in a movie, this is the activity of the characters and the plot and the challenges that the characters need to overcome, the climax of the story, all that stuff. This is the activity of the movie. And awareness is like the screen that's always there. That without the screen, you wouldn't see the movie. And it's always there. And what happens in these guided meditations and these transmissions that we're doing is it stills the mind. It helps. I'm helping you still the mind through the transmission, that this activity just goes, just like me pausing the movie or turning off the movie. Turning off. Let me just turn off the movie for you. Now what are we left with? A black screen, right? Really, the screen is transparent, but it's when you turn the movie off, there's a black background, right? And just like that, in these transmissions, there's just nothing there. It's black, but there is something there. There's something there that's been there the entire time, but because it's transparent, just like the screen, we were unaware of it because of so much activity in the movie that we became identified as a character in the movie and got lost in the plot and was so immersed that the movie Everything in the movie, the characters and the activity, it's all coming and going. It's all different. But there's something that doesn't change. That's not really part of the movie. It gives the reality to the movie, but it's not in the movie. It's not touched by the movie. The screen is not touched by the movie. When there's a fire in the movie or a big explosion, some sort of Marvel movie, the screen's not affected by it. You don't see the screen doesn't start to melt, and there's no big dent on the screen from the explosion. It's not touched by it. But without that screen, there would be no movie. So when the transmission is basically the activity of the movie just starts slowing down, depending on how open you are, determines how receptive you are to the transmission. And then that activity just kind of goes, and there's just nothingness. There's just nothingness, but what is aware of that nothingness? It's that awareness that must be fundamental, because your self-image and who you think you are and the labels and the thoughts and the future and the past, all that stuff is the activity that we lose ourselves in and believe ourselves to be. But when that's not there, then obviously we can't be that. But there's something that's very obvious at that point in the transmission, that it's there. Just like in the movie. When you watch a movie, you're not really aware of the screen. You're more caught up in the movie, immersed in the movie. It's only when the movie's off, done, roll credits, black screen, right? End the movie, turn it off. Oh, there's the screen. There's the screen. There it is. Right? So all it is the screen becoming aware of the screen. Awareness becoming aware of awareness. And that's what's so liberating, because the entire time, awareness is dreaming itself to be one of the characters. It's getting identified as one of the characters. It's like your screen thinks that it's the main character of the movie. So whatever the main character's problems are, that's the screen's problems. But what I'm saying is that's not the case, because the screen is actually free from the movie. It's untouched by the movie. And it's always there, because a new movie starts after. A new movie starts after. The screen awareness is timeless. It's eternal. Awareness, your being, right? The screen is just being, right? Back to the doing that we were talking about at the start of the video. The doing is all the activity of the movie. The being, the screen's just being. It's still. It's silent. It's transparent. Right? And these, like, we're talking about like a LED or a plasma screen here, where that screen it's without that screen, like, the movie wouldn't light up. You couldn't watch the movie without the screen. Right? So it's the screen in the movie, it's like it's inseparable. But one is dependent on the other. The screen is not dependent on the activity of the movie, but the activity of the movie is dependent on the screen. The doing is dependent on the being. The being isn't dependent on the doing. And the more aware we become of that being, that awareness, then we don't get so blown away by all the doing. We don't get caught up and lost in the doing. This being gives us balance and a sense of stability because it's still. We're finding ourselves as that stillness. And because we found ourselves as that stillness, it's still that deeper dimension that I am. I am stillness. Because I'm stillness and I know myself as that stillness, I'm stable. It's when we haven't found that stillness that we're unstable. So we are on this emotional roller coaster and we're getting blown away by the storms of the mind. Right? That's how most people feel. Oh, these emotions are so, how do I make them stop? I'm just trying to fight them. Oh, these thoughts. So much anxiety, so much depression. These are like storms of the mind. It's a big storm. But when you find that stillness, it doesn't matter how dark and scary and fast and violent that storm is, because you know yourself as the stillness, the eye of the storm. So it doesn't matter what's going on in the external world. It doesn't matter what's going on in your life. You've got that stillness, that silence at your core. It is what you are. Your true nature is that stillness and silence. So you don't get lost in the outer stuff. You always have that. You're at home. To others, it looks like all of this is going on, but you're always at home. When you, for lack of better words, get connected to that. When the screen remembers it's the screen. When the screen becomes aware of the screen. I'm the screen. It doesn't get so bothered and frustrated and angry and craving and jealous and all these things. It doesn't get that because it knows itself as the screen. And when it knows itself as the screen, untouched by the movie, it can simply just enjoy the movie. And the same is true when you find that stillness, that silence, that awareness that you are, then you just seem to enjoy life a whole lot more. And all that stress and anxiety and worry and doubt and depression and sadness and misery and suffering, it just all kind of falls away. Because all of those things they're what the characters have. But when you see that, I'm not really that character. My true nature is the screen. This character, it's coming and going. It's just part of the whole play. It's part of the movie. But what I am is this awareness. And then that becomes conscious. And, I got nowhere to go. I'm the screen. You can't go anywhere. As awareness, you can't go anywhere. There's nowhere to go. For the character, it feels like it's trying to get somewhere. Where is it? It can only get somewhere in the movie. But actually, what it's trying to get is it's trying to get free from the movie. But just like in this analogy of the screen in the movie, you're already free. You're the screen of awareness. You're not in the movie. You're beyond the movie, untouched by the movie. Are you aware right now? Yes. Are you aware of being aware? Yes. Every human is aware. and they can verify that they're aware of being aware. It's fundamental. It's the basis that everything is on. That's the absolute reality. That's the reality. And then everything else is dependent on that reality. So I know this is getting long. We've talked about too many things for one video, but it's all spontaneous and just kind of flows. That's just kind of how it is. And it's all good. It's all good. So hopefully kind of gave you some pointers or guidance, and you can see what I'm pointing to, this invisible, infinite field of awareness that you are, that's always here, present, timeless, and limitless, just by your very nature. And it's just a invitation to become more aware of that. And you'll see, once you start just becoming more aware of that, simply just kind of remember, am I aware? Yeah. Am I aware of being aware? There's this sense, you see, even, am I being aware of being aware? Become aware of what happened to your mind. It slows down. Being aware of being aware, there's no thinking. You can't think and be aware of being aware. Not possible. So become more interested, you can say, for lack of better words, of being aware. Become more interested in the awareness. Become more interested in the screen. It sounds kind of funny with this analogy. Become more interested in the screen that's capable of witnessing the movie, and that will kind of, again, this kind of the analogy is kind of getting sloppy here. That will help you find yourself as awareness by being more interested. Just be interested a little bit in being aware, and you'll notice that, again, you start getting this taste of your own aroma. You'll for a little bit more freedom. So that feels a little liberating. Wow, it's a little bit more peaceful. So used to the mind just going crazy, but being aware of being aware. Holy crap, my mind just stopped. You're right. I can't think and be aware of being aware. Right? And that's kind of that invitation, just to, there's something else. There's something beyond your mind. There's something beyond the thinking, because it's aware of the thinking. Being aware of being aware, I'm aware that I wasn't even thinking when I was being aware of being aware. See? So obviously the thinking is coming and going, and there's periods of time where there's no thinking. So what you are can't possibly be your thoughts, because they're coming and going, always changing, just like the movie. And there's periods of time, just like when you pause the movie or turn off the movie, that there's no movie. Yet you're still here. Like, you still exist. There's still a knowingness and awareness. That's what I mean by existing, not existing as the body. There's existing beyond the body. There's a knowingness and awareness that when the movie turns off, it's not the end of the screen. When the movie turns off, the screen doesn't die. That's why I said it's timeless, eternal. That awareness, the awareness that you are, is timeless. It's eternal. It's what's aware of birth and death and everything in between. It's what's aware of the birth, everything changing, and the death. And the only thing that dies is that which is bound by time. But what is aware of time? That which is aware of time must be beyond time. That which is aware of time must be timeless. It's the timeless that is aware of the time. Time is arising in the timeless. Time is experienced in your timeless being. Change is experienced in your changeless being. All the activity of the movie is arising out of the still screen. Just like your life, all the activity, the thoughts, the body activity, the activity of any actions, experiences, all of the activity of life is arising out of your still being. The stillness of your being, the stillness of awareness. That which is always here. Check for yourself. Are you aware? Effortlessly, yes. It requires no effort to remember your name, to update your driver's license, to switch your identity, to update your identity, take a new photo, keep that self-image. All of that is an activity that requires effort. Right? Who are you? Oh, I'm so-and-so. That's my name. And what happens when you change your name? Who are you? I'm a father. I'm a mother. I'm a teacher. I'm a business owner. Huh? And when you're not owning a business, when you don't have a business anymore, oh, wow. Who am I? See? It's a little bit of an identity crisis. That takes effort to maintain that sense of identity. Yet, there's something that's always here and now. Are you aware? Yes. See, you don't have to remember. You don't have to add any words, perform any actions, update any statuses. Who are you? I'm in a relationship. No, wait, let me update my Facebook status. I'm single now. You don't, there's no updating. You don't need to update anything with awareness. It's always there. It's always here, I should say. It's always here. It's always now. Doesn't matter what time. You're always aware. So this is getting really long. So let's wrap it up. So hopefully you can see some of the stuff that I'm pointing at, get some insight into it. Like I said, it's a little bit of a invitation. And if you have any questions on this, maybe you just stumbled on it and, wow, this kind of sounds totally crazy. Well, you never come back. But if you're somewhat interested, leave a question and I'll make some more videos to help guide you back home.